My boss was drunk last night. Today, she looked at me like she knew everything. She looked at me like she remembered everything. Not the kind of look a boss gives her employee. Not the polite nod she usually hides behind professionalism. No, this one cut through the hallway like a blade, sharp enough to make me stop breathing. I felt it before I turned. Heat, awareness, a question she didn't dare speak out loud. I paused with the coffee tray in my hands. My fingers tightened around the paper cups. The office chatter blurred into background noise. People moved, talked, typed, but for a moment, it was only her and me. Her eyes dragged across my face, slow and searching, as if tracing every memory she shouldn't have. Last night, her body heavy against my arm, her unsteady voice whispering my name, her fingers clutching my shirt like she already knew me in ways she shouldn't. I swallowed hard. She shouldn't remember. She was drunk enough that her words broke apart like glass, drunk enough that I had to pull her away from men who saw her as an opportunity, drunk enough that I carried her out of the bar, kept her safe, made sure she didn't destroy her career or herself. But the way she was looking at me now, she remembered something. Maybe not everything, but enough. Her lips parted, almost in surprise, almost in fear. I stepped past her before she could finish. Distance. I needed distance. But her gaze followed me, clinging like a mark burned into my skin. And in that moment, I knew something was wrong, something deeper than a drunk night, something hidden beneath the surface, something she wasn't supposed to know. It started with a message I wasn't meant to see. A notification flashed across her phone when she drunkenly dropped it into my hand. He doesn't know. He never will. 6 words, enough to split my life open at the seams. I didn't read the rest. I didn't need to. Those 6 words were already a confession. They had the weight of betrayal, the flavor of a secret she had buried deep enough to pretend it never existed. I didn't understand it at first, but I felt it. Felt the lie curled between her ribs every time she laughed. Felt the guilt in her voice when she spoke to me the next morning like nothing happened. Felt the tension twisting tighter when she avoided my eyes, but couldn't stop looking at me at the same time. That message wasn't about me, not directly, but it pulled a thread in my mind, a thread I couldn't ignore. Because a month ago, my son, my quiet, sharp-eyed boy, had asked me why his mother said something strange before she left. He said she told him, "Don't tell your father. He doesn't need to know." The words were identical, too identical, and suddenly the world felt staged, like everyone was acting out a script I didn't have access to. My boss with her secret messages, my ex with her disappearing weekends, my son with questions he was too young to ask. The betrayal wasn't clear yet, but the shape of it was forming. I watched my boss from the corner of my eye as she moved between meetings, her steps too careful, her glances too fast. She was afraid, but not of me, of the truth leaking through the cracks. And even before I knew what the truth was, I felt it. Someone was lying to me, someone close, someone who thought I was too blinded by responsibility, by fatherhood, by survival, to notice. They underestimated me. They always did. Investigation. I didn't confront anyone. That's the mistake most men make. They explode, they shout, they demand answers. Not me. I learned a long time ago that silence is more powerful than anger. Stillness is more dangerous than shouting. So I started digging, quietly. I checked the backup of my son's old tablet, messages between my ex and an unknown number, references to nights he won't find out about, plans that never included me. I checked office logs. My boss had been leaving the building late, far too late, on the same nights my ex disappeared. Coincidence? Patterns rarely are. Then I looked deeper. Phone records, locations, names repeated too often to be accidental. And finally, the truth began to rise like something rotting beneath the floorboards. My boss and my ex were connected. Not romantically, not intimately. Something worse. A lie that touched my son. A lie that stretched back years. A lie that explained why my ex left without warning. A lie that explained why my boss looked at me the way she did. Fear mixed with recognition. She knew something. Something about my wife. Something about my son. And when she got drunk last night, her guilt surfaced. She whispered a name in my ear before falling asleep. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt him. Not hurt you.
Not hurt myself, hurt him, my son.
Heart froze. I replayed her words again and again until the meaning finally snapped into place. My ex and my boss weren't protecting each other. They were protecting a secret connected to me, or worse, connected to my child. I kept digging, my calm facade becoming a mask I wore effortlessly, smiling at work, cooking dinner for my son, saying nothing. Inside, I was counting the falling dominoes, and when the final one dropped, I would be ready. The truth came in a plain white envelope. DNA results. I sat in my car for a long moment, the paper heavy in my hands. My breath was steady, my mind cold. I opened it. One sentence shattered everything I thought I knew. Probability of paternity? 0%. My son. My boy. Not biologically mine. The world did not spin. It froze. Everything slowed. The beating of my heart, the rise of my breath, the pulse in my throat. Then came the clarity. My ex's secrets, her messages, her disappearances, her tears the night she left. She was hiding this, but she wasn't the only one. My boss's message. He doesn't know. He never will. Her whispered apology. I didn't mean to hurt him. She knew. She knew my son wasn't mine. She knew my ex had been lying. She knew the truth long before I ever suspected. And this morning, when she looked at me, she looked like a woman waiting for judgment. I didn't storm into her office. I walked. Quietly. She was sitting behind her desk, hands clasped, eyes lifting slowly, too slowly, to meet mine. I placed the envelope in front of her. Her fingers trembled. Her face drained of color. You knew, I said. 3 words. Her lips parted, but nothing came out. She didn't deny it. She didn't try to explain. She broke. Her shoulders shook. Her voice cracked. Tears she had held back for years spilled over the edge. I tried to stop her. She whispered. I told her to tell you. I begged her. My jaw tightened. And you didn't. She closed her eyes. No. For a moment there was only silence between us. Heavy. Suffocating. Then I turned away. And she didn't follow. My ex showed up in my door that evening, panic written in every line of her face. My boss had told her. Of course she had. Guilt makes people desperate. She stepped inside without waiting for permission, breath shaking. Please, let me explain. I didn't speak. I handed her the DNA report. Her knees buckled. She grabbed the edge of the table to stay upright. Her eyes filled with tears, but I felt nothing. Who? I asked quietly. She shook her head. It was a mistake. Who? Her mouth opened and closed like a dying fish. Finally, she whispered a name. Someone I trusted. Someone I once called a friend. The betrayal hit harder than the lie. But still, I stayed calm. I let her talk. Let her choke on every excuse. Let her spill every truth she had married. And when she finally stopped, broken and breathless, I said the words she feared most. You will leave tonight, and you will not come back. Her eyes widened. But our son, he stays with me. He's not. He is my son, I said, voice cold as winter. Not because of blood, because I raised him, because I stayed when you ran. She sank to the floor, sobbing. I walked away. That was my revenge. Not shouting, not violence, just truth. Truth delivered like a blade pressed gently into the skin, slow enough to feel every cut. My boss resigned the next day. She left a letter on my desk. Not an apology, just a final line. I should have told you. Cowardice destroys more lives than lying ever will. She wasn't wrong, but I didn't reply.
I picked up my son from school, his small hand wrapping around mine like nothing had changed. And maybe for him, nothing had. For me, everything had. I wasn't the same man who walked into that bar last night. I wasn't the same man who believed loyalty was permanent. I wasn't the same man who ignored his instincts to keep the peace. I had clarity now. Gold. Clean. Final. As I tucked my son into bed that night, he looked up at me with sleepy eyes. "Dad, you okay?" I brushed his hair back. "Yeah," I whispered. "I am now." And for the first time in years, it was the truth. I turned off the light, closed the door behind me, and let the silence settle. The past was dead. The lies were buried. The people who betrayed me were gone. And in the quiet darkness of my home, I finally said the words that ended everything. I'm done. A simple sentence,